Crystal Charter, Daughter of the Red Seal. Read and written by Rebecca Sewell. Chapter 9. For her first morning in Clest, Maebe had planned on shopping in the markets for the newest artificer creations. She was always delighted with the bizarre contraptions that the minds of the guild could think up. With a bit of luck, she would even find out what part of the city Charis and Hannah had chosen to reside in. She yanked a clean, billowy white blouse with wide tight cuffs to prevent the fabric wrapping from her hands, from her armoire. Unpacked yesterday by one of the inn's maids, whilst Maebe floated in the bath until she pruned, ate dinner with Mouse, and then returned to the bath, the temperature never cooling. She still smelt of honeysuckle and summer rain from the water. Over her shirt, she threw on a sleeveless silk jacket, the front of which was heavy with gold and silver threads embroidered into opulent floral patterns. Her forest green cloak hung loosely over one shoulder. She banged on Mouse's door. "I'm leaving in 5 minutes to get some crystal-cooked blue crab from the docks for breakfast. Do you want to come?" she yelled into the crevice. A loud moan answered her. Then a mumbled reply, which she only understood part of, the curse part. Then the unmistakable sound of a pillow hitting the door. After a few seconds, he spoke again. "Wait." Edic appeared after Maebe had spent a few minutes waiting in the garden of their courtyard, admiring the flowers she'd rushed past yesterday. He had found his sword, which was now strapped to his back, and his formal feathered cap fluttered soundlessly behind him. "He was out of bed when I left, but he'll be a few minutes more," Edic grumbled through his whiskers. "I thought soldiers are supposed to be up early and always ready to go. You seem to be up fine this morning," Maebe complained at him after only a few moments had passed. "Soldiers follow orders to fight, and the lad can hold his own with a blade in his hands. Today he's been ordered to insult a room full of council members by being who he is. A bastard. That'd have me pacing all night too," Edic admitted. "The boy hides it well, but he doubts his own abilities with those self-important tossers, because of his humble blood. I know him though, lass. He can fight his way out of any corner, word or fist." "I'd have to agree with you on that, Edic," Maebe said, smiling at the fatherly pride the man exposed. He was talkative this morning. Edic was often a man of stoic silence and meaningful stares. "The prince does have one weakness, but—" "It's not like you to be so agreeable, May," Mouse announced as he walked out of the main door, still trying to tame his hair. "I'm also feeling generous. Come on, breakfast's my treat," Maebe beamed at him, then strode on ahead with her chin high and her hands clasped behind her back. "Gods have mercy! What did you say to her?" Mouse gaped at Edic. The soldier shrugged and rumbled along after Maebe. It didn't take long to find fresh fish at the docks and feast on breakfast. The dockside market sold almost everything that could be caught in Moonay Gulf. They strolled along the busy morning stalls, picking up glittering shellfish bowls and various skewers of crab meat. Every time they sat down to rest on the market bench, someone else would lure them into eating more by offering them a sample. "You're going to be fine meeting with the council today, you know." "Will Ahalor be there too?" Maebe asked, over a mouthful of her second purchase of giant eel. Ocean-scented chunks skewered and toasted over a small crystal grill, then covered with a bittersweet sauce. "Not today, I think. He wants me to visit him at the Artificers Guild tomorrow evening," Mouse sighed. A cat ran past with a mechanical tail, and when it looked at Maebe, she realised one of its eyes was a crystal. Artificers were known for testing new inventions on strays. She just hoped the poor creature had a crystal that wouldn't run out of its power before its life ended. "He doesn't look very organised. He probably doesn't even know you're in Clest yet," she mused, rejoining the conversation as the cat hopped over a leaf-covered wall. "He might be unorganised, but he still has the power to turn us into dust on a whim," Mouse grumbled. "Oh, don't be so imaginative. You know artificers only make crystal-powered weapons during the war. They didn't fight themselves, never have. It corrupts them. I bet he was some magical torturing devices stashed away somewhere, though," Maebe teased him. "Oh, thanks for that." He looked aghast. "Don't worry. Yes, the council will be angry. And the guild. But they're all smart enough to know that it's the king trying to rile them, not you." Maebe tried to comfort him. "They have enough independence to be happy. They'd never turn against the king. The council is allowed to rule in Clest by his will and under his laws. He'd squash them in an instant if they ever tried anything serious. And the guild, well, Ahalor can puff like a dragon, but he'd never push the king to use any hero crystals against them. They're also the strongest advocators for peace. They live in the country that was nearly destroyed the last time witches fought. She slowed in her tracks, stuffing the empty ear wrapper into a pouch under her cloak, and they strolled along into the main quarter. They sent a message to the inn last night with this, Mouse said, pulling a tiny scroll from his jacket pocket. It's a list of problem makers that I'm to deal with. Maebe wiped her fingers on her skirt, then took the paper from his hand, slowly unrolling it. There's over 40 people on here. Yep, and I have to talk with each one and deal with their issues. The council said they didn't want to presume to answer complicated issues in place of the king. How generous of them. Mouse rolled his eyes. This guy is apparently calling for Clest to leave the Green Kingdom. He laughed, pointing at a name near the top of the scroll. Oh, Mouse, Maebe laughed. Joseph Nunt. It says he's a songgoat herder from the committee. I didn't know the songgoat herders were planning a coup. I'll have to sit in one of those stiff-backed council chairs and smile at his complaints about how the East Wing doesn't understand the complications of goat herding, Mouse complained with a sneer. You'll not be doing that at the council hall, Mouse. Songgoat herders go into the blasted mountains at the start of spring and don't return until the end of summer, she informed him. What? I mean, I guess you can wait until the month of the crystal to speak to him. Or you could just go into the mountains and look for him, Maebe snickered. A bunch of flitters drifted down past them, carrying their messages. This is the council's form of a joke, surely, Mouse sighed. If I ignore him, it just encourages the idea that we don't care. But I can't wait for 6 months. You'll think of something. She turned and punched him lightly on the arm. Spinning on her heel, she started down one of the side streets. Good luck today. You're going already? He called after her, hand lightly resting where she'd tapped him. No, you are. Look at the sun, you're going to be late. That's an offence that the council will take from you, not the king, she laughed. He cursed and ran off through the crowd to find Edic, who had been following along behind them. The crowd parted for the bright blue jacket he was still wearing, understanding somebody of importance from the palace of the East Wing was passing, but unsure who the warm-haired young man was.